Farmer Maggot telling a Nazgûl to get lost may be one of the most badass moments in all of the Lord of the Rings books. But what you may not know is that it touches on a mysterious power that Gandalf hints at several times during the story. It all starts with this passage. He went up the lane towards the causeway not a long while back. He was a funny customer and asking funny questions. They waited anxiously for him to go on. Well, the farmer continued, approaching his point with slow relish, he came riding on a big black horse in at the gate, which happened to be open, and right up to my door. All black he was himself, too, and cloaked and hooded up, as if he did not want to be known. Now what in the Shire can he want, I thought to myself. We don't see many of the big folk over the border, and anyway, I'd never heard of any like this black fellow. Good day to you, I says, going out to him. This lane don't lead anywhere, and wherever you may be going, your quickest way will be back to the road. I didn't like the looks of him, and when Grip came out, he took one sniff and let out a yelp as if he had been stung. He put down his tail and bolted off howling. The blackfellow sat quite still. I come from yonder, he said, slow and stiff-like, pointing back west over my fields, if you please. Have you seen Baggins? He asked in a queer voice, and bent towards me. I could not see any face, for his hood fell down so low, and I felt a sort of shiver down my back. But I did not see why he should come riding over my land so bold. Be off, I said. There are no Bagginses here. You're in the wrong part of the Shire. You had better go back west to Hobbiton, but you can go by the road this time. Baggins has left, he answered in a whisper. He is coming. He's not far away. I wish to find him. If he passes, will you tell me? I will come back with gold. No, you won't, I said. You'll go back to where you belong, double quick. I give you 1 minute before I call all my dogs. He gave a sort of hiss. It might have been laughing, and it might not. Then he spurred his great horse at me, and I jumped out of the way just in time. I called the dogs, but he swung off, and rode through the gate and up the lane towards the causeway like a bolt of thunder. What do you think of that? This is a simple hobbit farmer, not a warrior, not a wizard, not a ring bearer, standing face to face with one of Sauron's most terrifying servants. No, I take that back. Sauron's most terrifying servant. And he tells him to leave. No fear, no hesitation, just pure grit. I love how Tolkien doesn't play it up with big dramatic language or a grand fight. Instead, it's told in Farmer Maggot's no-nonsense way, like it's the most natural thing in the world. And what makes Farmer Maggot's stand against the Nazgûl even more meaningful is something Gandalf himself points out later in the story, that hobbits seem to possess a natural resistance to the dark powers at work in Middle-earth. There's something in their spirit, simple, grounded, and stubbornly good, that makes them harder to sway. Just like Frodo had an amazing resistance to the Morgul blade wound, and similar to how Bilbo was the only person to ever give up the ring by his own free will. Maybe this is Maggot's version of that hobbit power. All the other races seem to have some power or abilities. Elves have immortality and wisdom. Also, they can walk on snow. Dwarves are genius craftsmen. Men are heroic and bold. So I like to think that the exact traits that make hobbits appear weak to some in Middle-earth are actually their greatest strengths. Simple, straightforward people with good hearts. They may not like things out of the ordinary, but that can also be a good thing too, just like we see here with Farmer Maggot. And Gandalf's goal is not to seek personal power, but rather to guide others toward defeating the Dark Lord. His mission is one of collective liberation, working through the people of Middle-earth to achieve a victory that cannot be claimed by any single individual. The Nazgûl, by comparison, seek complete domination, not only over Middle-earth, but over the very wills of its inhabitants. Their primary goal is to bring all free peoples under Sauron's rule, serving as his instruments of fear and oppression. Once great kings, the Nazgûl now act as mindless extensions of Sauron's power, serving him with unwavering loyalty. Their motivations driven by the dark magic of the ring, they act as his enforcers, spreading terror, subjugating kingdoms, and hunting for the One Ring to ensure Sauron's ultimate victory. The Nazgûl's motivations are tied to their fall from grace, corrupted by their desires for immortality. They are now bound to the will of Sauron, their goals forever shaped by their own loss of humanity. Thus, while Gandalf strives for freedom and the empowerment of others, the Nazgûl are driven by an insatiable thirst for control, seeking to impose their will upon all who oppose them. The symbolism of white and black. The most obvious and potent symbolic contrast between Gandalf and the Nazgûl lies in their association with the colors white and black. Gandalf is known as the White Wizard, the White Rider, symbols of purity, clarity, and enlightenment. The color white represents hope, goodness, and the potential for renewal. In contrast, the Nazgûl are cloaked in black, their very forms obscured by shadow. Black symbolizes death, despair, and the complete corruption of the self. Their black garments are not only physical, but also represent the total loss of their humanity, consumed by the power of the ring and their servitude to Sauron. This color difference is a central theme in The Lord of the Rings, reflecting not only the battle between good and evil, but also the choices that shape the fates of the characters within the story. Gandalf's white is the potential for redemption for a brighter future, even in the darkest times, while the Nazgûl's black represents the inevitable decay of the self when one succumbs to the temptation of power. Wisdom versus blind obedience. Gandalf, despite his formidable power, does not seek control over others. He is a guide, a mentor, and a facilitator of growth for the free peoples of Middle-earth. His wisdom is not something he imposes on others, but rather something he invites others to rise to their own potential. Gandalf's greatest strengths lie in his understanding of the importance of free will and choice. He does not manipulate others into action, but instead inspires them, showing what they are capable of achieving when they act in service of a greater good. The Nazgûl, conversely, are bound to Sauron and the One Ring. Unable to act independently, their free will was lost when they accepted the Rings of Power, and their actions are now controlled by Sauron's commands. They serve without question, their once noble identities extinguished. The Nazgûl's obedience is not born from wisdom, but from a mindless, relentless pursuit of their master's goals. They are devoid of agency, slaves to the power they once sought to wield. Through their contrasting paths, Tolkien paints a picture of what happens when individuals choose to serve something greater than themselves, versus when they succumb to the temptation of power and control. Gandalf's power lies in his wisdom, restraint, and understanding of the necessity of hope, while the Nazgûl's power lies in their ability to instill fear and domination. This tension between selfless service and the corruption of power is a reflection of real-world struggles that have played out throughout history and continue to do so today. In our modern political world, we often see the impact of these two opposing forces in political leadership, social movements, and the corporate power structures we see. Leaders like Gandalf, though rare, embody qualities of selflessness, integrity, and the ability to inspire positive change. They focus not on personal gain, but on the well-being of others. This is evident in leaders who seek to uplift communities, defend justice, and promote equality. Their power does not lie in fear or control, but in the capacity to unite people through shared values and common purpose. On the other hand, the allure of power and control symbolized by the Nazgûl remains ever present in the world today. We witness the rise of authoritarian regimes, corporate monopolies, and social influencers who prioritize personal power and wealth over the collective good. These individuals or groups often use fear, misinformation, and manipulation to maintain dominance. Much like the Nazgûl, whose very presence instills dread, in this world, power is not about leadership, but about subjugating others to maintain control. So thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.